All right, guys. Namaste. Welcome to another session of our study group. Again, we meet every Monday Eastern Standard Time, US, um, to study different esoteric books, especially those from Master Choa Kok Sui and his recommendation list. My name is Leo, for those of you who don't know me, and we're reading the Universal and Kabbalistic Meditations on the Lord's Prayer. I don't know if you can see it right here. And so we're doing the remote thing. We generally have a session with everybody, with all you guys here, but we're doing the remote thing. Please stay safe out there with the coronavirus. Stay away from people 3 feet and stay inside if you can. Many blessings be to all of you if you are having family members or anyone that is sick. Okay, so let's continue. We're on chapter 2 today. Let's do a quick invocation. Please subscribe, hit the bell, notifications, all that jazz. We're doing this in Zoom. I'm also we're gonna leave a link at the bottom so that you can see, so you can go into our Zoom meetings. We'll update it, and you guys can join us in the Zoom meetings live. All right, so let's do a quick invocation before we begin. To the Divine Supreme and Absolute God, to my spiritual teacher, Master Choa Kok Sui, to all spiritual teachers, holy angels, holy masters, all the divine hierarchy, all the saints. With your help and in your name, we thank you for your priceless blessings, for divine guidance, divine help, protection, and illumination. For their priceless teachings, wisdom and understanding, we thank you in full faith. All right. I have to speak a little loud because we're having some technical difficulties. It's the new Zoom thing. So just bear with us today. Cool. So, all right. So chapter 2, physical energy purifications. First thing I would like to talk about is the title of the chapter. Is generally we say physical and inner purification. But this says purifications it's plural. There are many different purifications that one can do, physical and inner, to do this. Now, why do we want to be purified? So the author, Master Choa, talks about purification is very important. Before meditating, it's super important to get purified. And interestingly enough, this section is pulled right out of the Meditations on Self-Realization book, or Achieving Oneness with the Higher Soul, because that was actually changed to that title. So it used to be Meditations on Self-Realization, but now it's called Achieving Oneness with the Higher Soul. It's a book by Master Choa Kok Sui, and so this chapter was extracted from there to make it easier for everybody to do this. So, why say important? Okay, so Master Choa, right, the author, it says that when you start meditating, you have to keep your body clean. Super important to keep your body clean. And why purify the body? Why do we have that? Basically, it's to avoid the body from getting sick, and so that you don't have Kundalini syndrome or anything like that. Super, super important. He gives an example from Matthew 9:17. He talks about the parable of the wine bags. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. When it says that new wine should not be put in old wine bags, and the reason being is because old wine bags, all those leather bags were made out of leather. The old wine, they get stretched over time. And so the wine, if it's new, is still in fermentation process. And that fermentation process creates gases, right? Spirits, also known as spirits. And what that does is that it stretches the bag. So if the old wine bag is already stretched, starts stretching, and it can burst. And this is the same concept with the body. So the body in itself needs to be clean. If there's a new wine bag, which represents a clean physical body, then you'll be able to withstand that fermentation, that whole process, and those spirits or gases that are created because of the fermentation, and they will be able to expand and stretch with better power. So the body obviously is the wine bag, and the wine is the spiritual energy. So that's that. Anyway, so the purification of the body, the reason is so that the body doesn't get sick. And what do they mean by getting sick? Isn't it energy? There's energy, why would the body get sick with energy? The body needs to be able to withstand that energy. Divine energy is very potent, very, very, very potent, right? So we can get something called Kundalini syndrome, where Master Choa calls Kundalini syndrome. And, it may manifest as insomnia or chronic fatigue, skin rashes, hypertension, overheating of the body, etc. It's very hard to diagnose. It's very hard to tell. Sometimes, it's just something that is not usual. And it's called Kundalini syndrome because there's too much energy in the body. The Kundalini is awakened, right? And you just have too much and your body cannot handle that energy. And so there's a principle in healing is that, the energy body affects the law of correspondence, right? So the energy body affects the physical body, and the physical body affects the energy body. So when you clean or you purify the energy body, then you're helping the physical body also get clean. In the same token, when you have the energy and the energy body is in disarray, then it will affect the physical body. Okay, so can you guys hear me? Just checking.
Yes.
Okay. So, what else? Proper diet, right? Proper diet is very important. How can we clean the physical body? Let's start with the physical purification. So proper diet, exercise, breathing exercises, and physical exercises, breathing exercises, and abstinence. And so every time we get to abstinence, what do you mean abstinence? Well, abstinence, has to do with willpower, right? And it's abstinence basically from food, from doing other things, right? So, diet, you need to make sure that you avoid certain things. If you're going to start seriously meditating, these meditations are very powerful. And there are some foods that are very dirty and will dirty your energy channels and, clog your energy channels energetically. And, it's not going to be fun when you're bringing down all that powerful energy. So one of those foods is pork. No pork. The author here in the book, in this chapter, it says avoid pork and avoid fish without scales like eel or catfish, etc. Bottom feeders, basically. But those foods, specifically pork, when you look clairvoyantly, they're very dirty, and the eel, catfish, all those bottom feeders, they also look very dirty. Now, this includes shrimp, etc. Now, pork specifically, right? When you look at it clairvoyantly, it has a grayish, yellowish energy. It looks very similar to Cancer energy, and this is something that is very curious, right? Peculiar, in fact. And if you look at it clairvoyantly, you can see that. And if you look at the Cancer and a Cancer patient, it looks very, very similar, grayish yellow, right? So, no pork, no eel, catfish, etc. The author says here that that you may eat beef, but not too much. Now, as he says in other works as well, if you do this very seriously and you're constantly doing this nonstop, it is advisable to become vegetarian, especially when you are doing hatha yoga practices, things like that. It is become a vegetarian is advisable. That's why he says, not too much. Um, you know, um, it's still, if you're doing this and it's not super hardcore, so good. Um, you just have to clean more. So, okay. So what happens? Well, the thing is that energy when you eat those foods, during that energy, you'll see the solar plexus chakra and the solar plexus area. There's a chakra called the solar plexus chakra, right? It gets very dirty. So you'll see like dirtiness in that area, and that area surrounds many organs. So when the energy is going up, right? Um, the spiritual energy comes down, and then the kundalini energy and the spiritual energy and the sexual energy come back up, right? As we have talked in many other videos. And when it's getting there, it's very hard for it to come through, and so it can cause pain, it can cause discomfort, and also myriad things. So not recommended. Now, uh, what about physical exercises? So physical exercises is very important because they expel all the used up energy, right? So the energy from the day could be anything, and so it expels used up energy from the physical body and from the energy body, right? So it is called the Master Choa, something very interesting that he says is that physical exercises prepare you for enlightenment, prepare you for illumination. Why? Because it expels all used up energy, allows spirit energy to flow into the energy body, the physical body, and the physical body with less resistance. So, and this is very important because we don't think that this will help clean. We generally say it helps clean the energy channels, called nadis in Sanskrit. You heard it like that, or meridians, right, from Chinese, from the Taoist tradition. But it doesn't only clean up the channels, for the energy to go through, but it helps clean the energy body, helps clean the physical body, helps clean the chakras. So when you're doing all these exercises, the chakras, it helps clean the chakras, it helps clean the energy body, and the energy channels as well in the body and in the energy body. So super important physical exercise, right? Now, okay, telling me to speak louder. So, so to keep the body clean and healthy, it can also withstand. So it's that way the body can withstand great amounts of energy, right? Of higher energy. So keep the body clean, keep the body healthy, and this is the key. This is why it's the preparation for elimination. Not only the physical exercises, but this at least physical purification. Abstinence is the other thing, right? We have breathing exercises, which we're going to cover very soon, and then abstinence. Abstinence goes in the inner side and in the physical side of purification. And you'll find it there. From saying good things, thinking good, and and not saying bad things, not saying having unwholesome thoughts or doing unwholesome things. This is very important. This is part of abstinence, as well as not eating foods that will, make your physical body dirty. Now, more important than physical purification, right, which we already started talking about, is inner purification. So here in this chapter, you have, that's why it's called physical and inner purification, which is way, way more important than physical purification. So how do you practice that in essence, right? The author here says is watch what you think, what you say, and what you feel. And also what you do, but what you say, feel, and think is what the author here says is the essence of inner purification. So is that whole thing what goes out of the mouth? what you think, what you say must be holy, must be good, right? It's more important than what goes in. So whatever you think, what goes out of the mouth is more important than what goes into the mouth. So more important than eating properly is saying good things, having good thoughts, etc., etc. Being cordial, being nice. Okay. So whenever you're gonna dirty somebody, whenever you're going to say something mean to someone, you cannot dirty somebody without getting dirty yourself first. So you cannot throw mud at somebody without getting your hands dirty with mud. So this is very important to understand. It doesn't matter if you think that the person is wrong, that you're on the right, that they are, doesn't matter what it is. Doing something bad. And but us trying to dirty them, but us trying to go after them in an evil way, then it's in a bad way, we're also getting dirty. There are ways to do that, and the law is out there. Also, there are ways to do all of these things. But that's not what the video is about. So we're covering the book, right? So it says you cannot dirty somebody without dirtying yourself first. So and something that he says, I wanted to read this quote because it's very important. So the author says, what is the point of eating clean food if what comes out of the mouth is dirty? What is the point? Is it worth saying or thinking bad things over and over again, and in the process letting your incarnated soul wallow in mud? Is that worth it? No. So inner impurities will pull you down. So the incarnated soul is not pure. The higher soul is pure. The incarnated soul is not pure yet. It's in the process of becoming purified. So the incarnated soul, according to the author, is like a balloon. So, he gives this example, this story. He tells a story about this practitioner, this meditation practitioner, right? Who was doing a meditation and felt that, was going higher and higher. And then all of a sudden, it started to go down, back, her consciousness started to go down, down, and lower. So, he says that the incarnated soul is like a balloon, and the inner impurities will pull you down. So you have to throw away the weight of the inner impurities, right? How? By purifying them. And then you will fly. You will fly up like a balloon. You'll feel spiritually lighter. And, the incarnated soul is in the process of becoming purified. It wallows in mud, right? So it is important to get rid of these impurities and then inner impurities so that you can fly, so that it can leave the mud and it can be above it. And something very, very cool, it says that character building, right, is the way of purification of the incarnated soul. Is a way of purification for the incarnated soul. Clear? Super, super important. This character building is one of the ways for the incarnated soul to become pure, to purify itself. And then it says that as you purify yourself thoroughly, right, your incarnated soul will be able to function on a higher level of consciousness. So what are the key words here? Thoroughly. So as you purify yourself thoroughly, your incarnated soul will be able to function on a higher level of consciousness until it unites with your higher soul. One second, we're getting a message. Okay. Yes, I agree. So, Shin is saying super important right now is the need to purify all negative thought forms associated with coronavirus. Yes, specifically now with everything that is going in the world, there's a world pandemic. 2020, I don't know if you're going to see this on YouTube forever, so I'm just making a reference. 2020 is a pandemic of the coronavirus happening right now. So understand that yes, there is a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of negative thought forms out there, a lot of negative thoughts out there, and that it creates like a massive thought form when everybody, the entire world is afraid and is thinking of all these things. More important than being afraid, it's important to become informed, to be aware of what's going on and take precautions. And then, do what we need to do at all levels, for sure, physically and energetically, with the coronavirus. And yes, we need to purify all the negative thought forms and fears from our system, so that we're not part of the problem. What happens with fear is that studies have shown that when there is fear or lower emotions, anxiety, all these things, your immune system in the body become, is lower. So it lowers your immune system, or the capacity of your immune system to be at this optimum level. So if you're not afraid, if if there's no fear, but you have love in your heart, it has been shown that it enhances your immune system. So the heart center, consequently, the heart center affects the thymus gland. The thymus gland has to do with is part of your immune system, right? So it helps your immune system. So it's very important to understand that fact. So when there is fear, it lowers the immune system. When you are in centered in love, it enhances your immune system. So this is very important. Thank you, Shannon, for saying that. So this time it's very important that we are in our heart, that we are not afraid, that we are serene, and stay doing what we need to do. Stay informed, obviously. Stay. It has been recommended to stay, about at least 3 feet away from people. Obviously not in your house. If you're in your house, you got it. It is an airborne virus, so just by breathing we can catch it. Masks are not effective unless you're talking about a respirator called the N95. That's N as in November 95. This is very important. I know they're low in quantity right now, but they definitely can get them. Especially, it might take a month for you to get them, but still order them. It's gonna be a while. It is March, so it's just beginning in certain areas. So order it. And then obviously wash your hands, talking to your elbow if you need to. And stay safe. Protect those with lower immune system, generally the older population. Um, but everybody is affected, so stay safe. At the same time, we need to bless anytime you can. There are meditations going on. Master Glenn Mendoza. You can go to pranichealingusa.com. It has a meditation every day at 9 p.m. Is it when is it until March 20th, 2020? Okay, so, and if not, also Master Choa. If you go to his masterchoa.org forward slash what? Live. So masterchoa.org/live. He has some great videos there where he can, he shows self pranic healing, things you can do to prevent or to help in the respiratory system, energy healing for that. And it's free. He's showing it to you right there. And at the same time, he also has meditation that you can do on that same page, even after March 20th. Okay. So, or if you cannot connect to the meditations at 9 p.m., you can do that one. So, the more people that are meditating, it also helps with all this negative energies, fears, and negative thought forms. It helps purify the earth, helps purify us and our aura, because we're doing the meditation, and you're also helping the earth because we live in it, right? So, it helps clean the waters. The waters, let's just say. All right, so let's help out. Anyway, so going back to the book, chapter 2. It's super important. This is a very, very important aspect of this section is as you purify yourself thoroughly, thoroughly, your incarnated soul will be able to function on a higher level of consciousness. Do you want your higher soul to be able to function at a higher level of consciousness? And until it unites with your higher soul, because that's what will happen as it goes, every time as it functions on a higher level of consciousness, little by little, eventually it will go to a higher level of consciousness until it unites with your higher soul, which is the key, which is the goal. Clear? So how do you achieve that? Just by purification, that can be achieved. This is tremendous. It's not saying, obviously, it's not saying to meditate. It's not saying anything. Just by purifying yourself thoroughly. What is thoroughly? Physically and internally. Right? So thoroughly. Right? So physically and internally. What is internally? Obviously, it's emotionally, mentally, spiritually, but energetically, right? So if you purify yourself physically and internally, thoroughly, right, your incarnated soul will be able to function on a higher level of consciousness. This is huge. This without meditation, just through sheer purification. And if you continue doing this, eventually it will unite with your higher soul. Now, if you add meditation in the mix, the growth is exponential, super fast. So, super important. This is a true gem in this chapter. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. All right, so let me just also show this. This is the book. I wanted to show you guys the book. And this is our chapter today. Here. Okay, so I'm getting help. Give me 1 second. Anyway, so I want to show you here, right? So you have everything that we're reading, okay? So we already covered the purifications, that, and part of the purifications, right? So now we're going to physical exercises before meditation. So you have physical exercises before meditation and physical exercises and massage after meditation. Okay, so physical exercises before meditation, right? We're going to that section in the book. Okay. Excuse me. So physical exercises before meditation. Before and after the meditation, do 5 to 10 minutes of physical exercises. So that's before and after, right? So you can do 5 to 10 minutes before and after the meditation. And what this will do is will clean the energy centers and channels in the body. Super important. So if you guys haven't, so have you guys realized that every time when we do meditations here, and we do the exercises, have you realized that there's also cleansing your chakras? No? So this is super important, right? So your energy centers and your energy channels are getting cleansed every time you do physical exercises. Now, any physical exercises will do, but you have to make sure that it does, that you are exercising almost every part of your body, right? So that's very important. So now when you exercise, right, and the energy centers and the energy channels are cleansed, there's higher energy can generated by the meditation can flow easily through these channels and through the energy body. Now, it will flow easily through the physical body and the energy body, and that's something very important. So the energy flows to the physical body and the energy body. And then you'll be with minimal obstruction. So if you want minimal energy to flow through the energy body, through the physical body with minimal obstruction, what do you have to do before the meditation? Exercise. Now, this also will help avoid, according to the author, it will help avoid chronic congestion, which will manifest as physical discomfort or problems during the meditation. Now, chronic congestion can happen regardless. There is tons of higher level energy coming down, right? So there's a lot of energy coming down. You have to make sure that your body can withstand it, obviously. But there's going to be a ton of energy coming down. Whether you you do physical exercises or not, it might be a lot of energy regardless. It might be a little bit of congestion. So you want to be able to minimize the amount of congestion. And because you want to be able to minimize to the greatest degree the amount of congestion, that's why you want to make sure that you exercise before meditating. So that way, the energy can flow through the energy bodies and through your physical bodies, and through the energy channels and your energy centers easily with minimal obstruction. That will minimize congestion to a high degree. And that's why we do exercises after the meditation, so that any excess energy that you have, right, which can become chronic congestion if you don't exercise after meditation, is released. And that way your body will not become energetically congested. Okay, so this is super important to do exercises before and after. Now, just remember, any exercise is good. You can do hatha yoga, you can run, you can do whatever. Just make sure that, like the author says here, that practically you need to exercise every part of your body. He does use that word practically, right? Now, they can be simple exercises, just to say that, right? You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to do boot camp. You can do boot camp, but it doesn't have to be that way. Just, make sure that all the joints are being exercised, right? Your shoulders and all of that. And now, we're going to do another video showing exercises and, before the meditation. And just check with us, check the channel. If not, you can look for, I would recommend pranic healing videos on exercises before doing heart meditation. And, those are great exercises, right? So here they're covered in the book, and basically the author says, and may I have copy? I'm just going to read them for you. So, if you know them real quick, I mean, we do them here all the time, but, just for posterity. So it says eye rotation, right? So, you rotate your eyes. Neck exercises like this and like this. The shoulder rotation, right? The upper body twist, so you're twisting your body. Hip rotation, right? You do circles through your hips. One, to one side and the other side. The semi squat exercise, that's the one we do 50 times. We look north. And, the bending and stretching exercise, right? Touch your toes, go back up, touch your toes, go up. Your knee exercise, rotate your knees 12 times. And, and the feet exercises, which is, moving your feet up and down and rotating your feet to the side. And so all these exercises you do like 12 times. That's basically the count. It's very simple exercises, and except for the semi squat exercise, you do facing north and do like 50, 60 times. Okay. So yes, 12 times to the right and 12 times to the left. Unless it's like this, things like that. Okay. So now, what's next? Now, physical exercises um, and massage after meditation, right? So physical, it's very important to do. We already covered this, right? But the massage, the physical exercises after meditation, but also it's important to do massage. Massage is it could be very simple, right? Or you can, again, you can do whatever you want. It could be super simple as you just going like this, right? Just going like that, shoulders, throughout your whole body, right? So it's just very important that you do that, or you can just tap it out. If you're doing qigong, right? You can just make sure just for the energy to it's for releasing excess energy. There are three areas that are very important that you massage or at least tap, and that is your head, right? So after the meditation, we generally always um, you know massage your scalp. Then you tap your uh, the area of your liver and the area of your kidneys. You tap them, right? So you like my sound effect? It's very cool. Anyway, so um, those are very important because those are areas that generally stay with a lot of energy, and those are very sensitive organs. So you want to make sure that you focus on those. But also, something that I wanted to touch upon is that after the meditation, something that says in this section for physical exercises and massage after meditation, that after the meditation, it's important to do more exercises to get rid of the old used up energy. Right now, if you exercise before the meditation, clear? If you exercise before the meditation to get rid of the old used up energy, so why are you going to get rid of the old used up energy after the meditation? Didn't we just get rid of the old used up energy when we exercise before the meditation? So what's the deal? So it's like this. As you do get rid of all the used up energy before the meditation, and it helps clear the energy channels, the energy body, energy centers, the physical body, etc. Right? Um, and as the energy comes down, there is minimal obstruction. Great. That doesn't mean minimal obstruction doesn't mean there is no obstruction. It doesn't mean you get rid of everything. And when divine energy comes down, generally there's also it also cleanses your aura, and it also cleanses your energy channels, your energy bodies, etc. at many different levels. Divine energy is cool like that. So remember, divine energy is energy with consciousness, or energy with divine consciousness. Spiritual energy is energy with not only with consciousness but with divine consciousness. Super important to understand. When this happens, it also releases additional obvious of energy, and it cleanses all of that. But there's still obvious energy that comes out that needs to be released, along with the additional excess energy or excessive energy that you get that is generated by the meditator. So super important to do exercises after the meditation so you can get rid of that old used up energy and release excess energy with the meditator. So getting messages. I don't know. I don't know if that's shown. Where's the message? Okay. Okay, it says here, do you have to do this for all meditations? or just for Twin Hearts and Lord's Prayer? Um, what the exercises for all meditations. So this is, he says it in the book. It says for all meditations you have to do this. Good question. So this is in the book. It says this is for meditations in general. Remember, this section was extracted from meditations on self-realization, right? So if you look at the on page, let me see that, in the cover page of physical and inner purifications, right, in chapter 2, that's page 17. I don't know if you can see it. No, because it's white. Anyway, it's fine. So there at the bottom, it says that it was extracted from a book called Meditations on Soul Realization by the author also. You know, but that is the old title. The new title is this is an older. I have an older edition of the book. I don't know if in the newer edition has the new title, but the same book was revised, and they added a new title for Achieving Oneness with the Higher Soul. So chapter 2 was extracted from also by the author, right? So by a book by the same author, Master Choa Kok Sui, named Achieving Oneness with the Higher Soul. And so they extracted this whole section on physical inner purifications and put it in this book for the benefit of the reader that may not have that book. You understand? So if you don't have that book, they, Master Choa took that, extracted this section and put it in here. And that section is, talks about meditation in general. That's in this chapter, he's talking about meditation in general, and obviously also about the Universal and Kabbalistic Meditation and the Lord's Prayer. So, good question. Now, this is generally good for all meditations. Also, but specifically for meditations that are advanced, or that there's a lot of divine energy coming down in those meditations. So, and I just assumed when I said different meditations is all meditations in prana healing, in Hatha yoga, and high level meditations. But there are some meditations that are not really pulling down high amounts of spiritual energy. They're just for relaxation and things like that, and that's okay. So you don't have to go crazy. But it is recommended that for any meditation that you're gonna do, any serious meditation will pull down divine energy, right? So it is very important that you do this exercises. It's never gonna hurt. You can never clean enough, right? So you can just we all need the purification. We all need the cleansing. Exercising is also important. So I would do it for any meditation. Any meditation can benefit, because anytime you're going to relax, you're gonna be calm. Your heart is gonna, become activated, which will activate your crown. The energy is gonna come down, whether in a small or greater degree, and you're still gonna have energy running through your system. You still have energy running through your system, regardless whether you meditate or not. So, it's just a good practice. Doesn't matter the meditation, right? But in some meditations, it becomes almost mandatory for good health, which is the advanced meditations that you pull down a lot of energy, serious meditation practices. You should definitely exercise to stay healthy and be able to get the most out of the meditation, right? Prepare the body for enlightenment or illumination. Now, look at the time. Okay, so next section, balancing breathing exercises. Okay, so the balancing breathing exercise. Now, it's important after the exercises, according to the author, it says that it's important after exercises and before meditation, right, that you do a balancing breathing exercise. also known as 6363, alternate breathing or balancing breathing exercise. Now, what is this alternate breathing? So basically, or 6363. So the author here is sharing a publicly, right, a very special breathing exercise. And so you basically inhale for a count of 6. Your own count doesn't have to be 1 per second, 1 every 2 seconds, doesn't matter. So it's how you feel comfortable, right? So the time will change over time. But you will inhale for a count of 6. You will hold your breath for a count of 3. You will exhale for a count of 6, and you will hold your breath for a count of 3. Again, inhaling for 6, holding for 3, exhaling for 6, holding for 3, inhaling for 6, etc., etc., etc. Now, but there is something else about the balancing breathing exercise, right? Is that there's a technique to do it, not just inhaling and exhaling for 6 and 3. But before we practice it, let's just talk a little bit about this, right? So the benefit of the balancing breathing exercise, right? And if you remember, breathing was one of the ways of purification. Breathing exercises is that this calms the mind within a few minutes. Super important now, especially if there's a lot of stress, anxiety, fear out there. This will calm your mind within a few minutes. But I like that he says, after that, he says, when done properly. So when done properly, it will calm the mind within a few minutes. If not, keep breathing. So, the author here, he dedicates several pages to this section, and this is to show how important this is, and how powerful this is. He also quotes the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, right? And there, in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, it says that when you can control your breathing, you can control your thoughts and emotions. So when you can control your breathing, you can control your thoughts and emotions. So we're running at it's 10 minutes. We have 10 minutes before the meditation begins. So let me see if I can go through this and still give you this technique. Okay, so now the technique. So even though it says that in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, that when you can control your breathing, you can control your thoughts and emotions. The technique for breathing is not given in the sutras. Now there are other, many, many yoga schools have pranayama or breathing techniques, and those are very important, right? And he does say, the author says that he's going to teach here the balancing breathing exercise. But there are many important breathing techniques, right? But he will not share those. Those he will share in the Arhatic yoga classes. There are, you can take, obviously. Please, you can reach the Prana Healing Center near you, or go to pranahealing.com or pranahealingusa.com, and you can see there to take Arhatic yoga classes. And those the author gives there. But he shares the balancing breathing in this book, which is very, very powerful, right? Which is the only one he shares in this book. Now, something that he does say about this technique is that it helps to calm the mind. And the reason that is important is that the mind needs to be calm for the meditation on the Lord's Prayer to be able to be done properly. Now, there are balancing breathings he talks about some experiments done in India and what they show about the balancing breathing exercise. And I'm going to list them here real quick. It says that number 1, they calm, you achieve a calm state of the mind in a matter of minutes. And please, like Master Choa says, do not believe anything that is said or that you read in books. Obviously, get your own conclusions. So you can test this and see if it works for you. If not, then we watch the video, see what you can do. Again, remember it has to be done properly. Obviously, when it is done properly, these benefits can be seen from experiments. Okay, so number one, calm state of the mind in a matter of minutes. Number two, the pulse rate slows down, which is good for stress reduction, right? Number three, energy increase in 3 or more times the size of a room. If technique is done seven or more times, right? There's definitely an energy increase of 3 or more times the size of a room. If you guys are pranic healing or know or are clairsentient, clairvoyance, you definitely can experiment with this and test. From my experience, all of these are like it says here, like so. Now, if you're a pranic healer or you're a energy healer, you can do this before and after healing several patients. This will definitely help you. Pranic healer especially because you can clean yourself before and after seeing patients. But this is very, very powerful. Now, this number 4, this balances the energy level of the brain and the body. Number 5, it cleanses and energizes the whole body, including the chakras and energy channels. So this breathing technique will balance the energy of your body and your brain. Super important. Generally, the brain is, there's more energy on one side than the other. That's, some people are very logical. They use the left side of the brain more. Some people are very creative. They use the right side of the brain more. And depending on our jobs, whatever they require of us or what we're doing throughout the day, there'll be more use of one than the other, unless you are a very fortunate individual and you're very balanced and your job is very balanced. It's not common. Or, obviously if you do the work, but but it does do that. And also it cleanses and energizes the whole body, including the chakras and energy channels. Now, how do you do this? We're not do this quickly because we're running out of time. We have 5 minutes left and I still need to cover. But you're going to basically grab your 2 fingers, right? Like this, right? So we're going to start with the right nostril, right? We're going to inhale for 6, hold for 3, right? And then cover the other nostril. Exhale for 6, hold for 3, inhale for 6, hold for 3, then cover, switch nostrils, cover the other nostril, and then exhale down for 6, hold for 3. That's one cycle. So you go up one nostril, hold, down one nostril, hold, up one nostril, hold, down one nostril, hold, right? So this is, and you switch nostrils with your fingers. Now you will see sometimes yogis that do it like this, and they basically go like this, right? They put and sometimes they touch here in the asana, and they go like that. So they go like this, and then they go like that. So they do that. Now, even at the beginning, we were taught to do that, right? It's traditional, very traditional way to do it. But we saw, clairvoyantly, it was seen that there was congestion, right? And sometimes when dirty, the hands were dirty or whatever, there was congestion in the asana area. So they started doing this. You can do this if you want, however you want to do it. But in this way, you just cover one nostril. There's no congestion in the face area or in any other in the asana chakra or anything like that. Clean, easy. So now that's one cycle. So you can do up to 7 cycles. It says here, do not overdo it, right? So 5 to 7 cycles is enough per session. And then here it says you can do a maximum of 3 sessions per day when you get up, before you eat lunch, and before you eat dinner. Basically, it's before breakfast, before lunch, before dinner. Before you eat. Don't do this after eating. Isn't it? Follow simple instructions, right? So it says here, when you wake up, before lunch, and before dinner. Now, you have to observe if your body can handle the energy. There's a lot of energy that can be generated by this. 3 times the size of a room, right? So, or more. So now, if you see that your body cannot handle the energy, if you feel it's too much energy for your body, then do it 2 times a day. And if it's too much, then once a day. If you do it 2 times a day before you wake up, after you wake, just as soon as you wake up, and before you and before dinner. If it is too much 2 times, then you do it before, just right after you wake up, right? So now it says, the author says, it is definitely advisable not to do too many of this breathing technique. Why? Because the adverse effects may not be seen immediately or easily. They may not be seen immediately or easily. They may take a few days for you to see them. And what can happen? What are the adverse effects? You can get Kundalini syndrome, which manifests as adverse physical and psychological effects. It could be difficulty and, sleeping, or chronic fatigue, things like that we read at the beginning of the chapter. Now, Kundalini syndrome is very difficult to treat unless, you're lucky enough, according to the author, to meet an experienced and powerful pranic healer. This is true. So, but it definitely is treatable. Seek for, pranic healer. They're, an experienced pranic healer. They're well versed in how to treat Kundalini syndrome. And if you ever have with that, you can also ask us, send me a message, and definitely help you whatever we can. Now, the last I'm gonna end it here because there is a meditation coming up next week. We'll stay in this balancing breathing exercises. The author talks about the caduceus, about the nadis, especially the nadis, Sushumna, Pingala, and Ida nadis, or energy channels that are affected by this breathing exercise, the Kundalini energy, etc. So tune in next week for more information on this, and so that we can finish this chapter. Many blessings, and Adma Namaste. Let's do a quick invocation for closing, and let's tune in to Master Glenn's meditation, so that we can all help the world, the coronavirus. Okay. To the Supreme God, we thank you for your good blessings. To my spiritual teacher, all spiritual teachers, holy angels, holy masters, to all the divine hierarchy, to all the saints, to all the holy gurus and holy masters, we humbly thank you for your divine and precious blessings. Thank you for your divine light, love, and mercy, good health, protection, guidance, and illumination. Thank you for blessing all who need it. For your blessings of protection, guidance, and illumination, for their precious blessings, precious teachings, understanding, wisdom, and love. Thank you for your precious blessings, and for blessing the entire earth. Thank you. Many blessings be to all. So be it. So it is. Thank you. Amma Namaste. Thank you for joining us. Remember to like and subscribe, set up your notifications, and look at the links for the soon videos. Stay safe. Amma Namaste. Take care.